no trump, declarer usually begins by counting winners. In a suit contract, the first planning question is different. You normally begin by counting potential losers from the hand with the longer trump holding. Then you decide whether to draw trumps immediately or whether those trumps are needed first for a ruff, an entry, or the establishment of a side suit. This lesson develops that process step by step. In a suit contract, counting losers is not simply the opposite of counting winners. We need a consistent method. And the most important rule is this: count the losers from the hand with the longer trump holding. Most of the time, that will be declarer's hand. Look at declarer's cards first. Then look across at dummy to see whether dummy has a high card that can cover one of those potential losers. Work through the 4 suits one at a time. Then add the results together. Start with this simple example. Declarer has 3 cards in the suit: the ace, the king, and the 7. At first sight, the 7 appears to be a loser. But now look across at dummy. Dummy's queen can win the 3rd round of the suit. So declarer's 7 is covered by dummy's queen. The correct count is 0 losers. Now declarer has the jack, 5, and 3. None of these cards is a sure winner. Dummy has no high card help. The opponents may take the first 3 rounds of the suit. So count 3 losers. If the defenders lead the suit a 4th time, declarer is expected to ruff. That is why we do not count more side suit losers than the number of cards held by declarer. This next point is essential. In a side suit, the maximum number of losers is normally the number of cards in declarer's hand. We assume that once declarer has no cards left in that suit, another round can be ruffed. Declarer has only 2 cards in the suit. Dummy has no high card help. Both of declarer's cards may lose. But declarer cannot lose 3 or 4 tricks in this suit during the initial loser count, because declarer holds only 2 cards. Count 2 losers. Now reverse the lengths. Dummy still has 2 cards, but declarer has 4. Remember, we are counting from declarer's hand. Declarer has no high cards, and dummy provides no help. All 4 cards in declarer's hand are potential losers. Sequences are usually easier to count. When the combined hands contain a sequence, count the missing higher honors. The number of missing high cards usually tells you the number of losers. Here, the only missing higher honor is the ace. Once the opponents take the ace, the king, queen, and jack become established. Count 1 loser. Here, the ace and king are missing. The queen, jack, and 10 form a useful sequence, but the opponents still hold 2 higher cards. Count 2 losers. Now, the ace, king, and queen are missing. Declarer may have to lose 3 tricks before the jack 10-9 sequence becomes established. Count 3 losers. This example shows why counting losers is not simply counting the cards that cannot win immediately. With king, queen, jack opposite 3 small cards, you have no immediate winner. The opponents still hold the ace. But in a suit contract, this holding is counted as only 1 loser. Once the ace is removed, the remaining honors become winners. That change of perspective is one of the main reasons loser counting is useful. Be cautious with an isolated honor. If dummy has one high card but the opponents hold a higher card, do not assume that dummy's honor will win. During the initial plan, count conservatively. Declarer has 2 cards in the suit. Dummy's king might win if the ace is favorably placed, but that is not guaranteed. For the initial loser count, treat both cards in declarer's hand as potential losers. Count 2 losers. The same principle applies here. Declarer's queen may eventually win a trick, but the ace and king are both missing. The queen is not a sure winner, and dummy offers no help. Count 3 potential losers. Broken sequences need more careful analysis. The honors do not form one continuous sequence, so identify the important missing cards individually. Declarer has the ace, queen, and jack. The only important missing honor is the king. Declarer may later finesse against that card, but before choosing a technique, count 1 potential loser. Here, the ace and queen are missing. Both cards may take tricks for the defenders. Count 2 losers. This holding is weaker than it may first appear. The ace and queen are missing. The 10 is also missing, so dummy's jack does not form a secure sequence with the king. It is possible for declarer to lose all 3 cards held in the suit. Count 3 losers. The ace is a sure winner, but the king and jack are missing. Depending on the position of those cards, declarer may lose 2 tricks. Count 2 potential losers. Some combinations cannot be counted by looking only at the top honors. Length also matters. Here, the ace is missing, but so are several intermediate cards. If the missing cards divide 3-2, declarer may lose only 1 trick, or possibly 2. If they divide 4-1, declarer may lose 2 or even 3 tricks. For the initial plan, use a conservative practical estimate. Count 2 potential losers. Later, when choosing the play, you can examine the exact card combination more closely. Now let's apply the method to a complete hand. The contract is 4 spades. To make 4 spades, declarer needs 10 tricks. That means declarer can afford 3 losers. We count from south, the hand with the longer trump holding. Start with spades. Declarer has the queen, jack, 10, 6, 5, and 4. Dummy contributes the king. The ace is missing, so count 1 spade loser. Now hearts. Declarer holds 2 small hearts. Dummy's ace covers one of them. Dummy also has the queen, but the king is missing. The queen is not guaranteed to win. Count 1 heart loser. Next, diamonds. Declarer has only 2 diamonds, the ace and king. Both are winners. After those 2 cards are played, declarer will be void in diamonds and can ruff another diamond if necessary. Count no diamond losers. Finally, clubs. Declarer holds the queen, 8, and 7. Dummy has the jack, 10, and 3. The ace and king are missing. Count 2 club losers. The total is 4 potential losers, but the contract allows only 3. So declarer's plan must eliminate 1 loser. This is the purpose of the loser count. It does not tell you automatically how to play the hand. It tells you what problem must be solved. The total number of losers is not the whole story. You must also ask how quickly the defenders can take them. A quick loser is a trick the opponents can take immediately when they gain the lead. A slow loser is protected temporarily by one or more winners in the suit. The opponents may take that trick later, but they cannot take it immediately. In this hand, the spade loser is quick. The opponents can take the ace of spades as soon as they have the opportunity. The two club losers are also quick. The opponents hold the ace and king of clubs, and they may be able to cash both immediately. The heart loser is different. It is a slow loser. Dummy's ace of hearts prevents the defenders from taking a heart trick immediately. Declarer may have time to eliminate that heart loser before the defenders can cash it. This suit contains only one loser, but it is a quick loser. As soon as the opponents gain the lead, they can take the ace. This suit contains two losers, but both are slow. If the defenders attack the suit, Dummy's ace wins the first round. Declarer may then have time to discard or ruff the remaining low cards before the defenders can take them. Here is the complete method. Start from the hand with the longer trump holding. Count each suit separately. Look across at Dummy to see whether Dummy's honors genuinely cover any of Declarer's potential losers. In a side suit, do not count more losers than the number of cards in Declarer's hand. With a sequence, count the important missing honors above it. Then classify the losers as quick or slow. Finally, compare the total with the number of losers your contract can afford. If the count is within budget, you may be ready to draw trumps. If you have one loser too many, your next task is to find a way to eliminate it. Now that we have covered the basic rules for counting potential losers, let's make sure the method is completely clear. This count is the foundation of planning a suit contract, so it is important to recognize the losers correctly before deciding how to play the hand. In the next few examples, count the potential losers from Declarer's hand. Take a moment to make your own count before the explanation appears. How many potential losers do you count? 0 potential losers. How many potential losers do you count? 1 potential loser, the third round. How many potential losers do you count? 1 potential losers, the opponent's ace. How many potential losers do you count? At least 2 potential losers, the ace and king. There may also be a defensive ruff. How many potential losers do you count in spades? Count 1 potential loser on the first scan. It can disappear only if a trump remains in dummy for the third round. How many potential losers do you count in spades? Start by counting 2 potential losers. A 3-3 break would reduce that to 1 and create a long suit winner, but do not assume the favorable break. How many potential losers do you count in spades? Usually 1 potential loser, but 2 are possible if the suit lies badly. How many potential losers do you count in spades? Definitely 2 potential losers, and sometimes 3 if the defenders obtain a ruff or force an additional loser. The word potential matters. A low card may eventually be ruffed, discarded, or promoted into a winner. But until your plan identifies that process, count the card as a loser. Also include delayed losers. Ace-King opposite 3 small cards still contains a third-round loser. Many contracts fail because declarer counts only immediate top card losers and ignores what happens on the 3rd or 4th round of a suit. You now know how to count potential losers. But the count is not the final plan. It tells you what the hand must accomplish. The next step is to compare the loser count with the contract. In 4 hearts or 4 spades, you may lose 3 tricks. At the 5 level, you may lose 2. In a small slam, only 1. And in a grand slam, none. If your count is higher than the contract allows, identify the exact loser that must disappear. Do not simply say that the hand has too many losers. Name the suit, the card, and the technique that may remove it. Then comes the central decision in suit play. Should you draw trumps now, or do the trumps still have another job to perform? Trumps are not only trick-taking cards, they are control cards. Once you are void in a suit, even a small trump can stop the defenders from cashing more tricks in that suit. But the defender's trumps are control cards too. If you leave them outstanding, a defender may ruff one of your winners, break up a long suit, or take 2 separate trump tricks that could have fallen together. That gives us the default rule. Establish the trump suit as soon as you safely can. Delay only when you can state a specific advantage that compensates for leaving the defender's trumps in play. Should I draw trumps now? If not, what exact job must my trumps perform first? This question should remain in the background until the defensive trumps are gone. You may postpone the trump lead for 1 trick or for several tricks, but only because the hand requires it. Why is drawing trumps the normal plan? Because you're small, trumps become secure winners only after the defender's higher trumps have been removed. At the same time, drawing trumps removes the defender's ability to ruff your side suit winners. A diamond ace is not completely safe while an opponent still holds a small trump and may become void in diamonds. Establishing the trump suit does not mean cashing every trump in your own hands. Once the defensive trumps are gone, keep your remaining trumps as control cards unless you need to cash them. West wins the first 2 tricks with the king and ace of clubs. Then leads a 3rd club. East plays the queen. Because clubs are gone from your hand, you ruff with the 3 of spades. Before playing to the next trick, review the whole position. You cannot lose another club trick while you still hold trumps. Your ace, king, and queen of hearts are all winners. In diamonds, dummy has the ace, queen, and jack, giving you a finesse against the king. The diamond finesse is available, but it is not urgent. The immediate task is to establish the trump suit. You have already used 1 spade to ruff, and 8 spades remain between your hand and dummy. That accounts for 9 trumps, so the defenders hold 4. Lead the ace of spades, followed by the king. Both defenders follow to both rounds. All 4 defensive trumps have fallen. Your remaining spades are now established. Do not cash them automatically. Keep them as control cards against the defender's established clubs. Now turn to diamonds. Lead a low diamond and finesse dummy's jack. Return to your hand with the heart ace and repeat the finesse with dummy's queen. Because the defensive trumps are gone, Dummy's diamond ace and the remaining winners cannot be ruffed. Now, compare this with playing diamonds before drawing trumps. The first two finesses succeed. But when you later lead your last diamond toward Dummy's ace, East is void and ruffs the ace with a small spade. East then returns a heart, and West uses another small spade to ruff. By delaying without a reason, Declarer allows the defenders to make two tricks with low trumps that should have been removed. The default plan is now clear, but many hands require you to postpone drawing trumps. The important point is that the reason must be specific. There are 4 common reasons. First, you may need to cash a side suit winner immediately and discard an excess loser before the defenders gain the lead. Second, Dummy's trumps may be needed to ruff losers from the long trump hand. Third, you may need to use trumps and entries to establish a long side suit. Fourth, a trump or side suit honor may be needed as an entry, or a remaining trump may be needed to control a suit established by the defenders. A finesse in another suit is not automatically a reason to delay. A side suit that looks attractive is not automatically a reason either. You must be able to explain exactly what you gain by postponing the trump lead. You are south in 4 spades, and West leads the king of hearts. Start with the loser count. In spades, the ace is missing, so count 1 potential trump loser. In hearts, the ace covers 1 round, but the 7 and 5 remain potential losers. Diamonds contain no loser. The singleton club is 1 potential loser. That gives 4 potential losers, 1 spade, 2 hearts, and 1 club. 4 spades allows only 3. Now identify the exact loser that can disappear. Dummy's 3rd diamond is a winner, and it can provide an immediate discard from your hand. This discard must be taken before you lead trumps. The missing spade ace means the defenders are certain to gain the lead when trumps are played. If you wait, they may cash the loser you intended to remove. Win the opening lead with the heart ace. Cash the diamond ace first, the honor from the shorter side. Then, lead a diamond to Dummy's queen and cash the king. On the 3rd diamond, discard the club loser from your hand. Your loser count has fallen from 4 to 3. The special task is complete. Now, lead a trump. We have seen the first reason to delay drawing trumps, taking an urgent discard before the defenders gain the lead. The next reason is to preserve a trump in the shorter trump hand so that it can ruff an excess loser. But before we apply that plan to a complete deal, we need to understand one important point. A ruff does not always create an additional trick. It normally adds a trick only when the ruff is taken in the hand with fewer trumps. Declarer begins with 5 natural trump tricks. Dummy's 3 small trumps normally fall under Declarer's high trumps and do not add 3 more tricks. But if Dummy uses 1 small trump to ruff a loser from Declarer's hand, the partnership gains a 6th trump trick. A ruff in Declarer's long trump hand is different. That trump was already one of the 5 natural trump winners. The ruff changes when the trick is taken, but normally does not increase the total. With a 4-4 fit, either hand may sometimes produce an extra ruff. But if one hand contains much weaker trumps, treat that weaker holding as the shorter trump hand. A ruff in the weak hand may create an extra trick. Repeated ruffs in the strong hand may shorten Declarer and allow a defender with 4 trumps to gain control. Now, let's apply this principle to a complete deal. We will count the losers, identify the loser that must disappear, and determine which trump must be preserved to ruff it. Count the potential losers from south. There are 2 club losers and 1 diamond loser. Hearts contain a delayed 3rd round loser. After the ace and king, the 4 remains. That is 4 losers, 1 too many for a contract of 4 spades. Dummy has only 2 hearts and 3 trumps. The 3rd heart can be ruffed in Dummy, creating an extra trump trick. The defenders have already led a trump. Win that trick in your hand, but do not continue drawing trumps. Cash the ace and king of hearts. Then lead the 5 of hearts and ruff in Dummy with the jack of spades. Ruff high. East is void in hearts and could overruff a low trump, but cannot overruff the jack. The excess heart loser is gone. Now return to the default plan. Draw the remaining trumps, drive out the diamond ace, and make the contract. If you draw all the trumps first, Dummy has no trump left for the 3rd heart. The hand then contains 4 unavoidable losers. The need for a ruff does not always mean that every trump lead must be postponed. Count how many trumps Dummy must keep. If Dummy has 3 trumps and you need all 3 for ruffs, you cannot afford to draw any of them. If Dummy has 4 trumps and you need only 1 ruff, some trumps are surplus and may be used to reduce the defensive trump threat first. Win the opening lead with the heart ace. 1 heart must eventually be lost, and your final heart must be ruffed in Dummy. But Dummy began with 4 trumps, and only 1 is required for that ruff. You may safely use the surplus trumps first. Cash the ace and king of spades. Both defenders follow, so their 4 trumps are gone. Now concede the heart trick. And ruff your final heart in Dummy. The ruffing plan succeeds even though you drew trumps first, because you counted exactly how many dummy trumps the plan required. Count the losers. There are 2 spade losers and 2 diamond losers. 4 spades allows only 3. A diamond must disappear, but neither hand is initially short enough to ruff one. After the opening lead, both Declarer and Dummy still have 2 diamonds. So the plan has 2 stages. First, create shortness in dummy. Then, use that shortness to ruff declarer's final diamond. Win the diamond ace. Cash all 3 heart winners, beginning with dummy's king, the honor, from the shorter side. On the 3rd heart, discard 1 diamond from dummy. Dummy now has 1 diamond, while declarer has 2. Now, lead a trump. West wins the ace and continues diamonds. On the first diamond continuation, both hands follow. On the next diamond, dummy is void and can ruff declarer's final diamond with the 7 of spades. The first step created the shortness. The second step converted that shortness into an extra trick. A ruff in declarer's long trump hand usually does not add a trump trick, but it can still be essential when the purpose is to establish dummy's long side suit. Count the losers from south. There are 2 diamond losers and 2 club losers. That is 1 more than the contract allows. Now count the immediate winners. You have 6 hearts, 2 spades, and 1 club. 9 tricks. The 10th trick can come from dummy's 5th spade. If the missing spades divide 4-2, you must ruff the suit twice in your hand to establish that final card. Before beginning, count the entries. You need to reach dummy with the spade king to start the process. Then you need 2 trump entries after the 2 spade ruffs, including the final return to cash the established spade. That entry count tells you how many rounds of trumps you may draw first. Only 1. Win the club ace and cash the heart ace. Then, stop drawing trumps. Cash the spade ace from the shorter side and lead a spade to dummy's king. Ruff a spade high in your hand. Cross to dummy with a low heart to the 9 and ruff another spade high. Return to dummy with the heart king. This entry also removes West's final trump. Dummy's remaining spade is now established. Cash it and discard a minor suit loser from your hand. The 2 ruffs in declarer's long trump hand did not create 2 extra trump tricks. They created 1 new side suit winner in dummy, and that winner supplied the 10th trick. The previous deal introduced a rule that deserves separate emphasis. A plan is not complete until every entry has been counted. If you must ruff a side suit 3 times, you normally need 3 entries for those ruffs and 1 more entry to cash the established card. A small trump may look unimportant, but it may be the only card that completes the route between the 2 hands. In a grand slam, you cannot afford any loser, so begin by counting winners. You have 12, 8 spades, 1 heart, 2 diamonds, and 1 club. The obvious chance for the 13th trick is the club finesse. But dummy's 5-card heart suit offers an additional chance. If hearts divide 4-3, dummy's 5th heart can be established. That requires 3 heart ruffs in your hand. How many entries to dummy are required? 4. 1 entry for each of the 3 ruffs and 1 final entry to cash the established heart. Those entries must be the heart ace and 3 trumps. Therefore, the 2 of spades must be preserved as the final entry. Win with the diamond ace and cash the spade king. Lead a heart to dummy's ace and ruff a heart high, not with the 2. Lead a spade to dummy's jack and ruff another heart high. Lead a spade to dummy's ace and ruff a third heart high. If hearts have divided 4-3, lead the preserved 2 of spades and overtake it with dummy's 4. Dummy's 5th heart is now a winner, and you discard the club queen on it. If hearts do not divide favorably, the club finesse remains as a second chance. Drawing trumps is not a mechanical instruction to play every trump until none remain anywhere. Count the missing trumps and consider what the outstanding cards can still do. Suppose that, after the higher trumps have been played, only one small defensive trump remains. Usually, remove it. If you leave it outstanding, the defender may use that small trump to ruff a winner later. After the ace and king, West's queen is the only outstanding trump. If the only remaining trump is higher than every trump in your 2 hands, that card is already entitled to 1 trick. Do not automatically spend 1 trump from each hand merely to remove a winner that cannot be eliminated. Continue with the side suits and allow the defender to use that master trump when they choose. There is one important exception. If the master trump can interrupt a long side suit and you will have no later entry to that suit, you may need to drive it out first. When 2 high defensive trumps remain, continue drawing if there is a reasonable chance that they will fall together. If they fall on the same trick, the defenders take only 1 trump trick instead of using the 2 honors separately. Good suit play is not based on one automatic command. It is not always draw trumps, and it is not always delay trumps. The default is to establish the trump suit before the defenders can use their trumps against your winners. But when a clear task must come first, preserve exactly the trumps and entries that task requires. Before playing from dummy at trick 1, ask 3 questions. How many potential losers do I have? Which one must disappear? And should I draw trumps now, or can I explain precisely why I must wait? That is the foundation of basic suit play. If you found this lesson helpful, please subscribe to Bridge Lab for more clear, practical bridge lessons. And if you have a question, a suggestion, or you notice anything that should be corrected, leave a comment below. Your feedback is always valuable and helps me improve future videos. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.